ABC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Back to do a What's Been Spinning video. Just going to share everything or some of the things that I've been spinning since the last What's Been Spinning video. So these are just kind of all the albums that I just kind of sat down and listened to from front to back all the way through. And it's just kind of what I've been taking in over the past couple weeks or whatever. So let's kind of jump right into it. I'll start off with only really played one cassette and one CD all the way through this past couple weeks. And so the cassette was Empire Records. It's a soundtrack. I actually do have the RSD vinyl of that, but I got in the mood to play it on cassette the other day. So, very, very cool album. Very 90s up and down. Has a real strong 90s feel to it. Of course, that's kind of when it came out. But, yeah, really good stuff there. And then CD-wise, you have Kitty, and this is their debut album, Spit. Fantastic album. Fantastic all-female not hard rock, I'm going to say a heavy metal band. And yeah, I actually just recently caught a documentary here on YouTube about them, which was really, really good. And it made me think to go back and, want to pull out this album. But this is definitely my favorite, with two of my favorite songs by them. Actually, probably my favorite song by them, I would say, which is Spit, the title track. Absolutely love that to death. So yeah, very, very cool album. Make sure you check them out if you're not familiar with them. And then kind of diving into the vinyl. There's quite a few here. I've been spinning a lot of stuff, so I'm just going to kind of go through this really quick because most of these albums you're probably familiar with anyway. We'll start off with REM, and this is Accelerate. This is their release from 2008. Of course, it has a cool song. I'm going to DJ on that one. Some of their later stuff. Next, we're going to the soundtrack Youngblood, another fantastic one. Another one of those great movies from the 80s. This came out in 1986. And it has the awesome song by Mickey Thomas on Hint, Stand in the Fire. Man, even when I spun this the other day, I listened to it all the way through. I went back and played Stand in the Fire, no exaggeration, I think 6 times in a row. I love that song. It is just such a great representation of 80s guitar soundtrack. Just the lyrics to it, the whole night, it's just so 80s. Absolutely love it. So that's a good one right there. Not an expensive soundtrack at all. $9 or $10, but really kind of hard to find. Next here we have Lionel Richie, the Definitive Collection 2 LP set. I believe this was Target exclusive or something like that. Some kind of a baby blue vinyl, but just really kind of a 2 LPs of all the greatest hits you would expect from Lionel Richie. Definitely crossing over into his stuff with the Commodores as well, but really, really good listen and just an awesome reminder of how many hits he had. L7, this was their 1988 release. Sorry about that. Really cool band. I just really started getting into over the past, like say, year or two, really, and kind of going back and grabbing their old catalog. And again, another just awesome, very raw kind of metal band. Very groovy type of band. And I actually showed this in a recent finds the other day. Rock Goddess, Hell Hath No Fury, and I got a chance to spin that. Kind of an all trio, female, a kind of hard rock, somewhat kind of pushing towards the glam phase. But yeah. All right, and then every now and then I like to go back to some of the different brown acids that I have. This is the 8th trip. And of course, the brown acid is just a compilations of just great psych stuff that, quite frankly, I don't think I would ever hear if not for these compilations. So this is just one of the many great ones. There's a favorite track on here is probably Luke and the Apostles. There's a song called Not Far Off, which is just a killer track to me. So if you're not familiar with that, again, another cool one to kind of check out. And one of my go-tos that pop up in all these What's Been Spinning videos, Down to Earth by Rainbow. I arguably think my favorite Rainbow album. Just such straight up rock right here. Love it to death, especially with songs like All Night Long and Since You've Been Gone. Such a perfect rock album. So I've been spinning that one a lot over the past year or two, it seems. One I haven't pulled out of the vault in a while to spin, which is Neil Young, Le Noise. Another great one from Neil that maybe got a little bit overlooked. His 2010 release, just kind of him and a very heavy fuzzed out guitar. I mean, that cover actually looks exactly like what their album sounds like. Very, very cool stuff. So if for some reason you're not familiar with this, definitely check it out. And those are kind of going for a pretty penny now. Like I said, they did make a big splash when it came out and just kind of got overlooked a little bit. The Donnas, Skin Tight, another great album by the gals here. This is their 1999 release, and just the same raw energy they've had in pretty much all of their albums. They do a pretty cool cover of Motley Crue's "Too Fast for Love" on here, which is kind of neat. So another great album there. I can see why they covered it too. Very fitting for them as a band. And one of my absolute just favorite albums to be pressed on vinyl in the last couple years. This is one that I've been begging for so long, which is Paula Cole, This Fire. This was just one of those huge albums that I listened to no end back in the 90s. Came out in 96, and just so many great things on here. I Don't Want to Wait, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone, Hush, Hush, Hush. I mean, just so many great things on this album. It's Me, just a lot of great songs on here. So, fantastic representation of what was going on in the 90s during that time. I better speed up a little bit. Violent Femmes, again, another album you guys know inside and out, so I won't talk too much about that one. Fantastic one there. TMA, Beach Party 2000. Probably maybe not more well-known group, but a really good kind of punk album. And it's really kind of nice too because it has punk kind of speed, punk kind of vocal delivery, but the guitar tones are a little more alternative slash like early thrash of the guitar tones. So it's kind of a nice mix of some early thrash and a punk feel to it. But yeah, cool album. Just hadn't spun it in a while, and I've had this for a number of years, so that's a good revisit. Michael Penn. This is his album March, which came out back in 1989. The big hit he had on here was No Myth, which is always a song I said he should have named it Romeo in Black Jeans because that's the one line that stands out most on the song. And I remember back in the day, it's in '89. This is before you had internet and blah blah blah. I remember hearing that song on the radio, but the times I heard it, they never said the name of the song, so I didn't even know what to, go to the store and ask. And I was asking people, I know it's a song called like Romeo in Black Jeans. No, we don't know. So he missed out on a sale for just kind of being all complicated and not just calling the song what it should be called in the first place. But good album, just one of those old memories from high school. And then here we have the Blue Nile, and this is their release from 1983. A band I was kind of recently introduced to by Arnaldo out there in New York. He talked about this in a stream that we did not too long ago, and then I stumbled across this and had to check it out. And yeah, definitely a really cool band. It's like some stuff on here some stuff's kind of new wave, some stuff is kind of like Danny Wilson kind of, and then some stuff is almost kind of jazzy. It's just kind of a nice mixture of all the different things that was going on in the new wave and pop world in the 80s. So that was a really cool discovery there. And I don't know, had thrown a little Frank Sinatra the other day. Really enjoyed that. I mean, I always like listening to Frank. Just, it's Frank, Mr. Smooth himself. And then we go right to a little Bikini Kills, kind of getting into a little raw, I guess kind of punk alternative, whatever you want to call it. But again, that was a good spin. That's their release from 1991. Little John Lennon and Yoko. I like going back and listening to this every now and then, but every time I listen to it, I'm just like, what the hell were you thinking with Yoko? I don't get anything she's ever touched her finger to. It just makes no sense to me, but, Lennon, of course, has great stuff on there. And another fantastic one that I always love to go back and revisit, which is Terry Reid. This is his release from 1976. Really, really awesome album. Kind of not quite a singer-songwriter. It's a little more low-key Lynyrd Skynyrd in terms of like ballady type of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Kind of hard to describe, but yeah, really, really cool album. And if I remember correctly, wasn't he the one that was originally like offered the job with Led Zeppelin and like didn't take it or something like that? I wonder if I'm getting him confused with somebody else. I think that was him. But anyway, yeah, great album. If you're not familiar with this, the first song I recommend checking out is Seed of Memory. That's just a fantastic song. If you saw, I can't remember if it was The Devil's Rejects, the Rob Zombie movie, they played that song towards the end of the movie. That's actually where I discovered it, and it's on that soundtrack. But yeah, just I mean, fantastic track. So great album there. The Psychedelic Furs, another fantastic one here, one of the great 80s new wave bands. And this is Mirror Moves. And of course on here you have songs like The Ghost in You, which is just fantastic, awesome 80s stuff there. As well as kind of Power Station, 33 and a third. One of the projects with Robert Palmer. A little more rocky here, but also definitely a lot of the songs from here have kind of an 80s R&B kind of twang to them as well. So it's just one of those kind of cool, odd albums that came out in the 80s. I think it was 85. Annie Lennox, it's Medusa here, another great album. No More I Love Yous, and then a lot of covers on here. Take Me to the River, Whiter Shade of Pale, Train in Vain, of course the Clash, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Waiting in Vain, Bob Marley and the Wailers. So just a ton of covers on this album, but really cool. I love that album cover too, one of my favorites by Annie. And you can never go wrong going to a little bit of Bob, always a soothing kind of cool thing to kick back to. So this is Bob Marley and the Wailers. This is Burning from 1973. And a little King Crimson. I hadn't spun this one in a while, and this was definitely a great revisit. And this is a Lark's Tongue and Aspic from 1973. Kind of a weird album here and there, but there's also kind of some really cool songs on it as well. Just kind of a great listening, great experience. Especially the song Exiles. That's one I really love off of this one. So that was kind of a cool visit. Like I said, I haven't spun that one in quite some time. And then we have a little Dio, another great one there, Strange Highways. And this was an awesome spin. Again, for some reason, just have not revisited this in quite some time. But you have Soundgarden, Down on the Upside, another fantastic one from 1996. And of course, on here, you have Burden in My Hand, and just all kinds of great stuff on this album. But just hadn't spun that in a while, and definitely a beautiful OG pressing of it there, which is always cool. Shocking Blue, classics. It's kind of a greatest hits. Has stuff on like Venus and a number of other things. Yeah, so another great one there. You can see I've been playing a lot of stuff over the last little bit. Then here you have July. Very cool kind of, psych pop type of record from 1968. So that was a really cool one. I wish there was an original pressing, but it's not. That's the Music on Vinyl reissue. And this was actually a really fun revisit. Bon Jovi, New Jersey. Again, just hadn't spun it in a while, and when I was flipping through it, I was like, let me just give it a spin. And it was just like, it was like really taking you back to that late 80s. It was just, with songs like Lay Your Hands on Me, Bad Medicine, Born to Be My Baby, Living in Sin, and just on and on. It's like just a really good album. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows the album. It was a good listen. Very kind of like rocker, heartache, love, angst. Like it just really captured that essence. And yeah, just hadn't spun that in a while. So great revisit. And the last few here, told you I've been spinning quite a bit. You have the one and only Dexter Gordon. This is One Flight Up, one of my favorite of the Tone Poets that they've reissued over the past few years. Just a fantastic album right there. So I've talked about that a number of times in the past. Little Tess Parks here. Another fantastic album from 2018. If you're not familiar with her, kind of hard to describe. Has a voice that's somewhat similar to kind of like what Mazzy Star does, but Mazzy, I think, is a little more, depending on which album you're talking about, is kind of a little more dark and like almost like she's getting ready to pass out kind of thing, where this doesn't quite have that feel, but like the harsh vocal tone or the rough vocal tone, kind of in the way that Mazzy Star does it, is very similar to the Tess Park. So if you like Mazzy, definitely check out Tessa there. I'm sorry, Tess, not Tessa. Then we have Sting, The Soul Cages, another fantastic one. Really kind of forgot just how much of almost like an audiophile type of album this is. It's just like very, very crisp, nice separations inside of it. It's just, I just forgot how good it sounded, period. You know, and I think probably the biggest hit off of this one is All This Time. But yeah, just some more awesome Sting there. That was from what, 1991, I believe that came out. And the last two, Aerosmith Live. This is a bootleg. I'm not a big fan of most live albums, but this is one I definitely like, especially the version on here of Train Kept Rolling. Really love that. And last but not least, Alice Cooper Classics, just kind of a greatest hits. Cool album here. The only thing that always ticked me off about this album is I wish they would have been more clear about all the stuff on side 2 that was live and that wasn't just a regular studio albums. I thought that was kind of like a, you know, yeah, they put it in real tiny print, almost like in the credits, and it was like live, real, because they knew, I think, I don't know, that kind of ticked me off, but still, it's a decent album, so gave that a spin. So anyway, geez, there you go, VC. That's kind of some of the stuff that's been spinning since the last What's Been Spinning video. As always, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if any of your favorites are in there, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.